Let's go ahead and hit that other button. All right, good. Now we're live. So, how's everyone doing? Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Knight. This morning, I have my little buddy with me. Connor! So, I hope everyone's doing well. Just waiting for a few people to come on over in here. Let's do that. Get a little bit better. Little buddy. All right, and I'm going to try and copy that over to my mailbox so I can send it to my phone, and then get this rolling. So like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. This morning was a little bit rough with my little buddy here. Control V. Send. So I didn't really have anything planned out for this yet, so we'll just wing it. Ooh, I got an email from me. Look at that. So, hope everyone's doing well. I know I said it 2 or 3 times, but last night was a long night. This guy did not want to go to sleep, so oh well. It's Tuesday morning. It looks beautiful out, so I cannot wait to get outside and go for a walk later today. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain. Why is that? Stream health. Let's check that guy. Poor stream status. Well, that's not good. Here. Huh. Why is it poor stream health this morning? I don't understand. Well, yeah, more information button really doesn't do anything to help. So let me connect my better camera. Hop over to the ticker. No, I guess we're already on the ticker. Look at that. How do I get this thing working? Droidcam. And let's minimize you and you. Oh. Okay, Connor, I can't do that. Okay, let's get this IP address on here. Get this on here. Which way does it go? Like that. It should be good like that. Alrighty. So, what is everyone up to this morning? For me, I'm just still waking up. It's cool. Last night I was able to play a little bit with my brother. He lives out in Missouri, and we play Apex Legends together. So it's good to be able to keep in touch with him, even though this is kind of a not fun time. He's like enamored with things right now. So, last night I was trying to think of different little projects to do. Something small that I could easily do on the live stream. And one thing I was thinking I could do, I'm not sure if I have the right leather for it or not, is a pipe stand. Because something like this doesn't have a flat bottom. It won't sit level. So if you're smoking it and there's stuff in there and you need to sit it down for whatever reason, it needs to have some sort of little stand. And I've been seeing some that were kind of nifty. They're just basically a loop of leather with a rivet in there. I could probably do that with some stitching. But, you know, that's neither here nor there right now. Oh, the chat seems stuck from last night. Interesting. Oh, now you're getting tired. So plans for today are to play with that idea a little bit and see if I can get something worked up. Otherwise, I don't know. I'm not cooking dinner tonight. We're having lentil soup that the in-laws dropped off for us, so I'm kind of excited about that. Not cooking part. That's gonna be a nice break. Probably take another walk today. It looks like it's gonna be a beautiful day. Got my unemployment stuff sorted out last night, which first time I had a file and it's confusing and annoying and not very fun. Yeah, definitely not fun. At least he's cooperating. What else? I got my video for next Friday finished and done. I need to upload that. Man, what a bear that was, and I really need to get back in practice being on camera. Because that outro, there were so many things to edit, and it was just a nightmare. One thing he is fascinated about right now is this guy right here. It's a little like Nintendo type controller for him to cut his teeth on. How about chat? See if this does anything. So guys, chat box is live. If you have anything to say, if you want to talk about anything, if you have any questions for me, let me know. Can I change this in the middle of stream it? I think I can. Booyah! Got it changed. Alright, chat is up and live. So I guess I have to do that every time I do a live stream. I'm still learning the software. Though last night, getting all that done was a big boon. Boone? Boom? I think it's Boone. I'm not sure. So what is everyone doing to keep occupied? This one here is very... He finds interest in the smallest of things, and I think it's absolutely hilarious sometimes. Like when I whistle, or when I do like a whistle and hum at the same time, he is just entranced. This is becoming the Connor show. That's okay though. He's a cute little co-host, right? Like this, buddy? There. You need to hold it yourself. Alright, see how many viewers I have. Sad this is such a poor stream health. I'm not sure how to ultra low latency. I got the right stream key and everything, so I don't know why things are laggy. Or there's a poor stream health. I don't understand. You trying to steal the show, bud? You know, for the whole state being on lockdown, there's still a surprising amount of traffic. But I guess what can you do living on Main Street? There's always got to be traffic. Don't really want to talk about current events right now. That's just too... that's just a little too not happy making. But I can if you guys want. I was planning on making this a hour-long show in the morning. But I guess if I'm not getting enough viewers, I'll cut it down to whenever I feel appropriate and whenever I run out of stuff to talk to or talk about, which I can run out of stuff real quick, or I can just babble on for an hour. We'll see. I mentioned these on the test last night, and these are a lot of fun. Connor, you're gonna make me look bad farting on my live stream. But these are this one in particular I really have to learn how to play because this has such a beautiful sound. This one's not bad. It's a little kind of tin whistly in its intonation, but I do enjoy it. It's small, it's easy. There's only 8 holes on it, so it's very easy to play, very easy to grip. This one, I learned how to play this one when I was a freshman in high school, I think. So what would you guys like this to what would you like this to become? Would you like this to be a philosophy thing? Would you like this to be, you know, a little project thing? Please let me know either in the comment section or in the comment section down below, I guess, for the live chat. I think today I'll cut this off at 9:30 and see how that goes. Let's see. Go into the live chat, so I'll come over here. Ooh. Yeah, I'm not doing Amazon affiliate links anymore. No one clicked on them. So I got nothing out of it, and I got kicked out of the program. So I'm going to have to change that little crawl. Yeah, yeah. Right before Christmas, they could have done their shopping as normal, but whatever. He's so mouthy. Let's see. I think I'm going to make some bread today, too. Honestly, there's nothing better than a fresh loaf of bread. Don't have anything to make like a stew. Because let me tell you, a fresh stew with a fresh loaf of bread, so good. My favorite is actually the heel of the bread, because then it soaks up, but it's also like a little scoop for like the little leftover stuff on the plate. Delicious. Anyways, I'm teasing myself because I don't have anything to make stew with. I need stew meat. Though I do suppose I could go out and just catch a couple squirrels. Let's get you standing because you're pulling on my shirt all weird ways. Ooh, here's one I desperately need to make, and I'll probably, I don't know if I'll do a project video or if I'll do this live, so you can see how horrible I am. Not horrible, how slow I am at my leather work right now. I need to make a tool roll for some of my leather tools, because I have things that are just kind of freely floating about, like my rotary punch, a couple craft knives that I have just sitting on the table. All my files are just sitting on the table. Those aren't really leather working tools, but maybe I'll make a separate roll for those. Hey, here. There. And maybe I even show off some of my masks one day soon. Because like I said in the test last night, I do have an affinity for masks, and I don't know why. I really don't. But there's just something cool about them, I think. And they've always fascinated me. Oh good, my video's done rendering. Yay! I wonder if that hurt my stream health. Did it? Did it not? Oh, stream health is excellent now. I did absolutely nothing to change it. So I don't know what you guys are doing. What are your plans? What are you looking forward to today? Are you considered an essential worker? Okay. Yeah, you can be happy about that, but I'm not, Connor. He just threw up all over my foot. Oh, now you yawn. That was so difficult for you, was it, huh? Thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. Joys of fatherhood. Yeah, now you gotta be all talky because you threw up on me. Yeah. No, tell me more about it, really, please. Really. There. Sit you up like that. No, you're not. Pulling my shirt all out of sorts. Oh, I had 2 concurrent viewers for a moment. Oh boy, I don't know what I'm going to do with myself. So, anyways, really hope everyone's doing fine. Let me know what your plans are. Let me know what you guys want to talk about. Good morning, Luke. How we doing, buddy? Okay, buddy. Here. No, you don't get to touch that stuff. I know you want to. We're actually getting some chats in, so we're gonna slap on over to the chat box. Good. Had a work meeting on Zoom. You know, I haven't used Zoom yet, but I hear it's a pretty decent service. I hear there is a lot of shenanigans going on with that. One guy showed up to a meeting in a fursuit. There's people hacking into meetings because they're, I guess, like an open source thing. So once you start hosting one, you're just hosting one. I think he's liking seeing himself on screen. By the way, what do you do for a living? I remember you told me once upon a time. I forget. And you're also a musician. Definite shenanigans. Yeah. Well, it's good that they're getting more secure. I almost want to say you can't have that sort of stuff when you're doing, conducting business. But at the same time, things like that have a much needed bit of levity in this time. IT support and AV at the University of Pennsylvania. Cool. It's always interesting knowing what my friends and followers do. By the way, I don't know if you got an invite. If not, I'll send you one. Our old high school put up a little private group, and it's kind of cool catching up with everyone. You know, that we just drifted apart from for years. There's teachers in there and stuff, and it's actually really cool talking to people. I should send you a link. By the way, I forget. I don't think I even asked. Do you still play the cello? Oh, this is a travesty. I'm almost out of coffee. Can't have a coffee with night. I didn't see that. It sounds really cool. All right, I'll have to send you an invite then. Yeah, I do recording sessions. Nice. I cannot wait to get my hands back on my cello. Unfortunately, I won't be able to get it until, at least I don't think, until after this whole thing is over. So, that's not going to be fun, but whatever. This would be the perfect time to start practicing for me. That's the most recent one I did. I guess recording session. Well, that's good. How's the area down by you? Is everything safe? Are you staying safe? Are you staying okay? Okay, that makes more sense now. And I would appreciate hearing it. He gets excited about the simplest things, and it's hilarious. Like I just pushed his little controller a little bit closer to him. Oh, now he wants my thumb. A couple days ago, he was chewing on my desk. Now thumb. he's just starting to cut his teeth. So things have been difficult the last couple days, but good. I'm glad to hear that. Though thanks. I would suggest making it a point just to get outside for a little bit, get a little fresh air. Being cooped up inside all day for who knows how many weeks could be very detrimental to your physical and mental health. Just stay away from people when you do it. Go for like a walk around the block. Go to a cemetery. I love walking through cemeteries. Not only for the history, but they're also just very peaceful places. They're usually well kept, rather private. Oh, you are so lucky. If I want to go have a pipe, I actually have to go out into a parking lot. Yeah. I miss, one thing I do miss about my old apartment and living at the in-laws, being able to just go outside and do whatever. But this one came along, so we're in this little apartment until we can buy a house, which is my next step in life, I guess. I do have a couple good ideas. I'm actually working in AutoCAD and SketchUp now. The new architect at work got me turned on to SketchUp, and it is so much fun to use and so easy. Where's your new place? We're living in Peckville, above a pizza shop. So it's not large, but it's almost the size of my last place, and while we don't have a yard, it's cheap, landlord's good, and the neighbors aren't too much of a bother. That's awesome. Yeah, it is a pretty nice place. I did not like the fact that it was on the second floor. But what are you gonna do? Besides, I need the leg exercise. Yeah, a sneeze or a hiccup or a combination. He's something else. So I'm definitely gonna have to. Any project you've been working on? I actually just finished. I'll show it because why not? My first piece of serious leather work in such a long time. I did a Plague Doctor mask. Just finished editing that video. I did a saddle stitching pony that was so ridiculously easy. You can even make that from stock parts from the home center, and get the leather work within 45 minutes. It's really only 15 minutes of work on it. Half hour for the glue to dry. So stitching pony's coming out this Friday. Plague Doctor mask is next Friday, and I'm not sure what I'm going to work on after that. There's some stuff I've been working on for work, just of my own accord. Doing some details and practicing in SketchUp because I'm still learning that program. Yeah, so much fun learning it because I think it could really take Knightsmith to the next level. You're tired now? I think it could take Knightsmith to the next level. Just doing animations and kind of showing you what I want to happen first. It'll be good for showing the clients instead of just. I don't know if you saw my last video or not, but that's how I've been selling projects is taking pictures of their empty room and drawing, hand drawing a proposal piece of furniture. A little rough, but what are you gonna do? So I've been working on those, and I've been working on designing a house with a nice 2-car garage, an integrated shop. I want to have an integrated smithy, but I think for insurance reasons and such, I need to have that detached from the house. So that'll be a future project that I'm going to have to put up there. Because now that I'm working with leather, I'm really getting that itch to work with metal again too. And I really do want to get back into forging and smithing. I really miss it. That was almost depressing. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And I'm looking at new things to do right now. Ooh, that was loud. What fell? Oh, pair of pliers. It's good stuff. I don't know if I've seen much metalworking here. I barely do any because how much can you really do in an apartment? Not a whole lot. And when I stopped living at my parents' house, moved in with my grandparents, I tore down my forge. So no forge, no smithy, no blacksmithing. I need to get that up and running again. I'm so itching for it. But the next thing I want to do is fix this hot mess. Pipes shouldn't just be in random bags. It is poor form, and that's how you break them. A lot of the pipes I make, they have, this is one I bought when I was out visiting my brother, but it has a plastic stem. Most of mine have wooden stems, just because I can make wooden stems, and I can turn them, and they look really pretty, and I can do all these really cool designs and stuff. But I have a horrible habit of just jamming it in a pocket and going. And since I sell my tobacco pipes for $200 a piece, I guess the cheap ones are $60 a piece. But the nice ones with a really, well-turned handle or stems and stuff, those are $200 a piece. I won't admit how many I broke, but it is an embarrassingly high number. Yeah, this is coffee. You can't have any of that. So I will be making a pipe pouch. Don't have really any hardware, so I might just do like drawstrings and stuff. But I mean, I want to have, what do I have to have in there? My pipe tool, my pipe, obviously. I want to have at least two tobacco things in there. I need matches. I need my pipe tool. I want a lighter just in case I run out of matches or whatever. And my pipe cleaners. So I'll probably make one or two of those. One for my church warden, one for a shorter guy. Let me find some way to weatherproof them. Ooh, I do have an experiment I can run. Since this leather is white, like bone white, I have some black shoe polish. I want to see if I can do anything about that. Maybe change the color, or at least make the edges black and finish those off a little bit. There's not really much I can do because I can't, it's just chrome tanned. But I wonder. We'll have to play with that. But yeah, the amount of metal work I'm able to do, in the wood shop at the Red Door, is rather limited. I can do more than I have, have been able to in the past, and I plan on doing that. But it's still limited. Do you want your controller? There we go. Yeah. Speaking of the metalwork and my affinity for masks, this guy has been staring at me for the last couple of years. I need to finish it. There we go. Okay, there. I want to drill out the mustache area and actually put wire in there. Interesting thing about wire in relation to beards, most men's beard hair is equivalent to the same thickness wire strand in copper. But like I said, I want to finish that. I want to, do the rest of the face. I know the nose looks horrible. I don't know why. I am just horrible at noses. Getting the proportions right and making it look realistic. But back to point. I miss blacksmithing. I miss it terribly. That's just not something you can do everywhere. Woodworking, leatherworking are a lot more forgiving as to where you can do things. Bloop. But most of my videos do have some sort of metalworking. Oh, God bless you. Like this guy here, like this mask. There we go. I actually had to build a, there we go, we're back on screen. I actually had to fabricate a little belt buckle from scratch. The bed had to have some support pieces in it. So I am able to do some, but it's so limited. I can't call it blacksmithing. I'm having all sorts of trouble today. With my stream health. Maybe I'll take a couple pictures or screen captures or renders or whatever of the house that I'm working on. And maybe that'll help, maybe that in conjunction with his cute little face will get people to start donating. So I can get him a yard to play in when he grows up. Yep, we're going to get your feet up and get your controller back. Meh. Cool. That would be great. But regardless, we'll just have to play things by ear and get things going. I definitely want to move back into the Abington School District if I'm able to. Because really is one of the best school districts, as far as I can tell, one of the best in the country. You trying to upstage me? it is one of the best in the country as far as I can tell. And being so close, being with family is great. So I want him to have the best as possible. But finding land in the school district is neither easy nor cheap. Ideally, you'd have woods on it. I want to get a couple acres of land. Yeah, somewhere between 5 and 500. Not much. No, I want to get at least 5 acres of land if possible. Okay. What's going on, buddy? Is that what you want? He wants to check out the scenery. He was getting bored. I want to check out, I want to have, between 5 and 15 acres of land with woods, so I have privacy. But I also want, I want to open up a sawmill so I can saw my own lumber and sell some of what I don't use. Because after making his crib, I am so hooked on making things out of hardwood now. Guess he just wants to explore the sights. But hardwood is a little bit more expensive than pine. But it's so much more fun to work. So I'd rather just be able to mill my own stuff up. And to do that, you need space to dry the lumber and let it cure. You need space to set up a sawmill. And you need enough space that the neighbors aren't going to complain too much. Though I do intend on bribing them with a few free woodworking projects and having a nice big fire pit and having parties in the summer. Because there's nothing better than a fire party on a Friday night or Saturday night. You have a couple beers, you have a nice hot fire, maybe a stream trickling in the background, and you swear you're only going to have 1 or 2 beers. And you're just sitting back and you're talking. And then you hear a noise and you look around and it's birds chirping. The sun's coming up. But everyone just sat back and chilled out and had a great time. I love having fire parties. They're fun. And it's a great way to get rid of scrap. I laughed. It's not that scary. Go back to exploring. So I can't wait to have a house where I can do that. Not only build everything, but everything that I dream of, but also entertain some people. And I want a place where I can raise this guy properly. I want him to climb trees, and I want him to roam and explore in the woods. I want to teach him everything I know. And it's great seeing him get so curious about things. I love seeing his, because you can really see the gears start turning in his head when he starts staring at something. It's awesome. Yeah. But, yeah, I guess that's my long-term plan. Anyways, guys, I'm going to get going because this guy definitely needs some entertainment. And just sitting here is kind of limiting. So, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. I will see you tomorrow morning, bright and early at 9 o'clock, for another Coffee with Night. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. And I will see you tomorrow morning.